Folks, I'm going to make this short and sweet. We are confusing our clients and our potential clients by giving them every product and every service known to mankind. For those of you that know me, I have a full time job as a business coach. I've been talking about this for 15 years. I see this also in the explainer video business. I work a lot with financial advisors, insurance agents, business coaches, and everybody wants to tell you about every possible thing that they can do, which doesn't help them. It doesn't let them know about everything. It really just confuses them. I'm going to give you two quick examples here. Growing up, I was in a town that not only didn't have a red light, we had one stop sign. We had zero fast food places. But we did have a school, K through 12. I graduated fifth in my class, which sounds really impressive until you realize there was only 25 of us. But we did have a basketball team. We traveled all over. We had to go everywhere to find other small towns that would play against us. When we came home, we always had to come through the big city of Columbia, Tennessee, which had two restaurants at the time you could go to late, McDonald's and Hardee's. We'd always beg to go to McDonald's, not necessarily because McDonald's had the best food in the world, but because Hardee's was such a hot mess at the time. You're thinking like early, mid 90s at this point. When you went to Hardee's, it was a guarantee that we were going to be there about 2 hours with a busload of kids, and everybody's food was going to be cold, wrong, or just plain not good. What was one of their biggest issues? Back then, they offered one of everything under the sun, and they just kept expanding their menu. So not just burgers, fries, shakes, and of course the awesome biscuits they served in the morning. They brought on, the cinnamon rolls with the California raisins. They had roast beef sandwiches. Good Lord, they had chicken, which you could get, looks like two large sides for $2. Great deal back then. And none of it was very good because they had spread themselves out too thin, too many options, and it never worked out. So fast forward, about 10 years ago, maybe longer than that, maybe about 15 years ago, they reinvented themselves. Now, when I say they reinvented themselves, what do you think of now when you think of Hardee's? The big thick burger, right? They dumbed it down. And, for some of you, this is Carl's Jr. I remember when it first came out, I was watching a football game with two buddies of mine, and a commercial came on, and it was Hardee's, and it was something brand new. They had this French au jus burger, which was just this big, thick burger, again, with roast beef piled on top, and this model wearing a skimpy French maid's outfit. And they were, it tells you how long ago it was. They were so excited. They both coordinated and they got out their Blackberries. Remember how Blackberries sounded? It sounded like little machine guns were going off. I still had the Nokia brick at the time. Never got a Blackberry. Anyways, I don't feel deprived. They scheduled their times together because that was the target market. They knew that we wanted to go with one thing and make it really simple. So that's one good example. Go from a lot of different things, not successful, one thing you're known for, and they have still added on to the menu sense, but they made it easy. Another quick example is ServPro. I don't know how many of you know ServPro, fire and water cleanup company, major, one of the biggest franchisors, most successful in the country, headquartered right here in little old Gallatin, Tennessee. Since I live in Gallatin, I have worked there because I think it's kind of a requirement. If you live within the Sumner County border, you have to put in 5 years there. I did mine, got out, and here I am. Uh, I remember it being so confusing for a lot of these franchisees when they'd hand out a business card or a pamphlet brochure, because it would say literally one of every single solitary thing under the sun that they offered, not just fire, smoke, and then soot removal, which kind of is implied, but water removal and dehumidification, also somewhat implied. And you can see there's a list of 10, 15 things here. Well, ServPro got tired of, not really being known for what they're best at. And they hired a marketing group. I think they still work with them today, the Bunting Group in Nashville, Tennessee. And they brought them in and they started doing these customer surveys and just focus groups. And they would call people and they'd say, hey, who do you know in the restoration industry? Do you know what the restoration industry is? Have you heard of ServPro? And you wouldn't believe the number of people that thought ServPro made surfboards. No, not true. And by the time they boiled it down, very few people did. They were still one of the top leaders in the industry. I think them and Service Master. Okay, so they put the Bunting Group in the mix for 6 months. They rode out on the trucks. They got to know people. They did their research. Then they came back to corporate. So we've got it. So, well, what's going to be the new brand? It's going to keep, everything's orange, everything's green. But instead of saying everything that you possibly offer, it's going to be like this: fire and water, cleanup and restoration. And that's it. So we got on board with it, paid the money. They understood what they were talking about, started rolling it out to the franchisees. And a lot of them, not all, but a lot, were understandably not happy. So, Charles, you don't understand. You corporate eggheads, you sit in the puzzle palace out there, and you don't understand what all we do. We do content cleaning, and we'll clean carpets, and they can list off draperies and 15 other things that they did. Now nobody's going to know about it. Now they're not going to buy from us. Implemented it anyway, and lo and behold, within 3 months, 6 months, a year, they started going back and doing those surveys again. So, hey, who do you know in the restoration industry? Well, ServPro's name started popping up. And when they were looking at the difference between the number of people that would name ServPro or, the next highest competitor there, ServPro started really taking off. Well, why? Because they made it easy. 80, gosh, maybe even as high as 90, but at least at that time, 80% of what they did was fire and water cleanup. As they were in the process of doing that, once they got the customer or got the center of influence, they could start marketing all of the other things that they did. So they made it simple. And that's something we need to start looking at doing. So for you, if you're a financial advisor or an insurance agent, a business coach, I'm cheating. I'm looking on an example over here. On your website, is it going to say one of every single thing that you do? Are you going to, if you're a financial advisor, you're going to say we work with both individuals and employers. And for individuals, we offer retirement planning, investment planning, social security planning, estate planning, employee sponsored health plans. And then, you're going to tell them about all of the workshops you got and your big, resource library that's got every blog and guide and tip and trick. Are you just going to overwhelm them and confuse them? Same as if you're offering insurance. For employers, we got supplemental and worksite products and corporate wellness programs and COBRA administration. For individuals, we sell home, life, auto, and we sell, financial services, annuities. And same for the business coaches. You've got 15 things you can offer. Let's start looking at narrowing it down, because when you tell somebody 10 things in 10 different ways, they hear zero. If you tell them one or two things in an effective and a clear one or two way manner, they're going to understand more of what you are talking about, and they're going to appreciate that a little bit more. And they have to hear that on average 12 to 15 times before it sinks in. So even if you feel like you've been repeating yourself over and over, that is a good thing. You're trying to say a wide variety of things and make sure everybody knows about everything you possibly offer, because they'll come to you then. Make no mistake, they're looking for a specialist. So don't over water down everything you offer and tell everybody about everything. Focus on the the 80-20 rule, the 80% of whatever brings you business versus the 20% that doesn't. And as far as me tying this in with explainer videos or any kind of video, storytelling with the videos, that's what you really need to be doing as well. That's why I have a business making explainer videos, so we can boil it down to this one thing and make it super simple for people to understand. Got any questions? Hit me up in the comments, shoot me a message. Otherwise, hey, have a good weekend. Still rolling over here. It's that awkward end at the thing where like you try to get off a Zoom call.